Dude,
What's up?
so I'd love to get your thoughts on Pokemon Legends ZA. We're kind of in a drought period when it comes to news, when it comes to rumors, when it comes to really anything to talk about. But this is still groundbreaking information. The fact that the game exists, the fact that we're going to get a new Legends game, the fact that we're going back to Kalos, a lot of curveballs. A lot of it also kind of makes sense when you go back and look at all the signs. But I'd love to get your just first reactions when it comes to this new game that we're going to be getting in 2025.
Yeah, so first things first, Mega Evolution, big win for me. I'm a big Mega fan. I've been hyping up Megas for years. I've always felt like it was just the perfect mechanic, and I know obviously they change it up every year with Z moves and then, Dynamaxing and whatever else. And I do appreciate some of those, but to me, Megas were just the best. I feel like the designs were great. I just love taking, kind of not so good Pokemon and giving them some new life. With things like Mega Beedrill and stuff. So Megas, in my opinion, is a home run in kind of itself, right? So seeing that come back to the franchise, I'm very excited. In regards to the Legends itself, I was a big fan of Legends Arceus. That's not the game that I think has a ton of replay value, but I think...
You don't think so?
I really don't. I don't think it has a ton of replay value. I know for me personally, it was a game that I did beat the story like 2 or 3 times, which is probably more than most, but that was it for me. Like I'm not itching to go back to it.
Yeah.
But from a first time experience, I was blown away, man. I was enthralled. I was in it. I loved it. I thought Legends Arceus just had a fresh breath of fresh air for the franchise. And when I think back to like the last handful of games that I've covered and played and things like that, Legends Arceus to me, I would say, is my top game that I enjoyed the most. Just from a pure enjoyment standpoint of just exploring the world, having fun playing the game. I think they nailed a lot of things, and I think it's interesting that there was such a change up from the formula, and yet for me it resonated so powerfully. So I'm excited, man. Legends ZA, like I said, to me that's like best case scenario. I'm still on the hype train that there might be a Unova game this year.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up later.
I'm not giving that up yet. If I'm wrong, it's whatever. That's kind of the fun of speculation. But I'm definitely excited for it. I think for me and for many of us right now, it's just a matter of like, all right, when's the next news drop? What are we waiting for here? How late in the 25 are we actually looking right now? There's a big difference between February of 25 and November of 25, right? There's a very big difference there, and I think that the quality of the game could also change drastically based on the answer to that question too. So a lot of exciting stuff.
When do you think we are going to get information? So I mean, let me ask you that, and then I'll move on to what I want to say next.
Yes, I mean, I think by summer probably. We got the World Championships Hawaii this year.
Sure.
I don't know. Is that August?
Yeah, Lumi?
August.
Yeah, they announced it's like August, I don't know, 8th, 13th, something like that.
Right, so like naturally there's going to be something. Considering they haven't shown us any gameplay, I think that we're inevitably going to get something. But the reality of it is, if Legends ZA is at the second half of next year of 25, then we have a really long road ahead of us in waiting right now, because it does not make sense for their marketing cycle to really ramp up until they're a few months away. So that could be looking like a really big hype period towards the end of the year. If we're looking at an early launch next year, if we're looking at like a late launch next year, then it might be dry for a while. But that's why I kind of still am hanging in there that there's going to be these Gen 5 remakes. Just I feel like it fits really well into the timeline of everything, and I think it would be really hype. And we saw them do it already once, so anything's possible at this point.
Right. Yeah, I feel like what makes most sense to the tinfoil theory that we're going to get like new games in 2024, the thing that makes the most sense is that they're trying to show us the shiniest object first, right? That's like focus on the game that you're gonna get, that you're gonna love, that'll be undeniably great, which is gonna be Legends ZA, right? That's exciting. There's things to latch onto, right? And then maybe in a couple months they're gonna be like, and just by the way, you can also buy something this year.
Here's our faithful remake.
Yeah. Let's not put too much emphasis on it. You guys didn't love it. At least the internet, Twitter didn't love it. Anyways, so
they sold decently well, BDSP.
They did, yeah.
They outsold Legends.
That's it,
crazy.
right? When we look at the bottom line here, this is a company that is designed to drive revenue, and if they're able to do that, I just have a hard time believing that they're sitting in their board meetings in Nintendo and Pokemon, Creatures Inc., or whatever else. They're sitting there and saying, yeah, we're totally cool punting on 24 with our main series. I just have a really hard time believing that when they've shown the complete opposite for a really long time now, right? That's a lot of pressure. This is a company that has a lot of demands and people who have high expectations. For them to just say, yeah, we're not going to do anything on the main series video game side for all of 24, essentially, I don't know, man. That's a hard tough pill to swallow. But
and we
maybe
just
I'm
got the announcement.
hoping.
We just got the announcement of Pokemon Works as well, which there's a lot of implications with that. We don't really know much about it, but we had a couple episodes about kind of the implications of a new company like this. This could be I think it's partially. It's partially
Ilka and
it's
like
Ilka and maybe the Pokemon Company or Game Freak specifically. So the implication there is that maybe they're going to be churning out these like glorified ports, as I call them, which I'm fine with that, right? If we get more Pokemon experiences on the Switch on modern consoles, I'm all for it, right?
And that's just it too, right? It's not as if it's cut and dry that it has to be Gen 5, faithful remakes. They can go back to Johto. Like there's a lot of angles that they can go. So that's why I until we get to like September 1st, I'm still on the hype train that there's going to be a game in November.
Yeah.
Wow, September is a long way to wait.
Maybe
actually,
maybe world.
Yeah.
Safer statement. Yeah.
But that's what's crazy, because like the only reason why we're holding on to this faith is that Riddler Coup, the guy who has been right so often, has told us so cut and dry that we will be getting Gen 5 remakes.
I wouldn't say cut and dry.
Listen,
but,
that's true. It gets filtered. It's like a game of
he's
telephone,
gonna get
right?
flamed in the comments now. Oh man.
But I think that is what has been suggested to us. So now we're waiting for that to be answered.
Pyora as well.
But
which
there's
is
been plenty
a big deal, right? That multiple people were saying that.
That's true.
Like not just Q. Pyora was also saying it.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, A-Drive?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could always go back to the whole like a broken clock is right twice a day kind of thing, right? There's always the chance that these predictions are not all that outlandish, right? At the end of the day, but the reality of it is, Q has a pretty proven track record at this point. I think anyone doubting that they have some sort of a connection is just on a different planet. I don't know. Obviously, they have inside ties, and there are a few people in the community that are reputable sources. So
I mean, he's also been wrong in the past. Like he's been wrong before.
Yeah, but I think that like, to expect that an inside source to be 100% accurate, I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment. The reality of it is, like, when we go back, and so many of us have done it, when you go back and you go through the lines of every tweet that he posts, and you're like, okay, that was right. I'm sorry, you can only get lucky so many times, right?
Yeah.
To get things right. Like, it's very clear
Absolutely.
that there's an inside source.
And
but
sometimes
things
he's just
change
trolling us.
Right? I'm sorry?
And sometimes he's just like responding to Lumi or myself and just trolling us. It has nothing to do with an actual rumor.
And that's
a
the
riddle,
right? I think he's playing Marionette. He has a little bit of fun, puppeteering
we're the
community
puppets.
and stuff. And honestly, like, my take on it is I just embrace it. Like, whatever the roller coaster I'm going on with Koo and whoever else, let's just hop on, let's have some fun and see what happens. At the end of the day, I don't feel that it spoils my game experience when the time comes to actually release. I generally am more excited or whatever it may be. So I just get along for the ride and have fun. And then whatever ends up being true, great. If it's not true, whatever. But I think we can all agree that, like, going on that ride is probably better than like stepping off leaving the amusement park for 10 months at a time.
Literally, that's literally the truth.
there.
That's it. That's like that's the whole point of it. It's like we are trying to still enjoy it, you know.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Right. I feel like there, and I can think back to many times in my content career playing Pokemon, how many dry seasons there were where like you're going 16 months for like. The community couldn't care less about what's going on in terms of the world of Pokemon, more or less, right? Like the greater online community anyway. And like these rumors and these leaks and these drippings of potential information that may or may not be real, I genuinely believe had lifted the community up in many times when it would have otherwise been very down. So
no, dude, absolutely.